What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Max, and today you join me on a lovely day with a lovely car. This is a Ferrari GTC4 Lusso T. So that means that this is the station wagon Ferrari, basically, with a V8 3.9 liter V8 bi-turbo, and it has a lot of Novatec goodies. Apparently around 100,000 euros worth of Novatec is on and in and around this car. So today I'm going to show you around it. I'll show you the Novatec parts of it, and I'll show you the spec, and after that we'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast. So let's start by thanking Thijs Timmermans for letting us have a go again in this gorgeous Ferrari for sale over there. So if you're interested, make sure you check it out, because it is a very special GTC4 Lusso. Or if you have anything else you're interested in, make sure you check his inventory out, because he always has very cool cars for sale. So let's have a look at the spec and at the Novatec parts, because this is grigio scuro, which is a very nice color, combined with some Novatec carbon fiber, like the splitter, the side skirts. This I'm not sure if that's Novatec or Ferrari, but it's very cool, that carbon side blade thing. We've got Novatec wheels as well, quite large, 21s at the front, 22s at the rear, and this is a 255 tire at the front. We've got carbon ceramic brakes with yellow brake calipers, which looks super nice, and it's this sort of bronze color on the wheel with Continental Sport Contact 7 tires on there. You've got Magnarite adjustable suspension, which is super nice. A little bit of carbon fiber here on the mirror caps as well, and then of course you've got that roof line that is so typical for this type of car. The GTC4 Lusso, of course, is the successor to the Ferrari FF, which introduced this sort of bread van shooting brake idea again at Ferrari. I love it. I think it's just amazing. I mean, can you imagine that this is your like daily or family car? I just love the idea of a practical Ferrari. I think it's such a contradiction in terms that it just works so well, and it makes it even cooler for me. And at the rear we've got 22s, as I said, a 335 tire, so massive rubber there to get the power down, because even though it is a V8, it still has quite a bit of power. Carbon for the diffuser as well, which is Novatec as well, this part I believe. And then you've got a very intricate diffuser going on here with, I think, some cooling extraction fans for the gearbox probably. Looks super nice. Of course, the quad tail light setup looks much better than the two tail lights on the FF, if you ask me. Carbon boot spoiler here as well, carbon roof spoiler as well. And then if we open it up, you can see that you actually have proper storage. We've lowered the seat there to get some more sound in the cabin, just for the videos, because it's always nice to have a bit more sound. But yeah, it's actually quite a practical, usable space, I would say. And then you've got the spec sheet over here. So you can see the exterior's extra range, and then it's over here. Historical colors, grigio scuro. And then you can see all the options. So you can see the Alcantara on the center console, on the doors, the yellow brake calipers, the front air vents in carbon fiber, the carbon driver zone, carbon finish for upper area, bridge. Yeah, have a look if you're interested. Panoramic roof is also on there, which is a very expensive option. I think it's like 12 or 13,000 euros, which is kind of ridiculous. But really love this rear end. I think it looks very muscular, and you have that high hip. It goes up from here, from like the tail, goes up to the hip over there, and then down again. I love that. I think it looks really stunning. So let's have a look at the engine, because as I said, it's a V8. The GTC4 Lusso T, the regular GTC4 Lusso, has the 6.3 V12 with 690 horsepower and 692 Newton meters of torque. This has the 3.9 V8 from the California T and the 488 GTB. So it has 610 horsepower in this car and 760 Newton meters of torque. So it has a bit more torque. You can see how low down the engine actually is. It's right there. It's actually lower than it seems for optimal weight distribution. Center of gravity is very low, and you can see that it sits behind the front axle as well. It's quite a long car, just under 5 meters. So weight distribution with this lighter engine in the front is also a little bit better than with the V12. So it's 46 front, 54 rear, as opposed to 53/47 in the V12. It's also a little bit lighter than the V12. Now, I was expecting it to be even more light, because, or lighter compared to the V12, because you also lose your front wheel drive. So this is only rear wheel drive instead of the 4-wheel drive you get in the V12 Lusso, and you have a lighter engine, V8 versus V12. So I was expecting it to be lighter, but it is around 55 kilos lighter than the V12. But all of that weight is in here, because you know, you don't have the front wheel drive here and you have a lighter engine. So it's 55 kilos at the front, which definitely makes a difference. I love this car. Let me know what you guys think, because I think it's quite a divisive looking car. I think a lot of people think that the whole shooting brake Brad fan idea is stupid and it's not good looking. I love it. So let's have a look inside, and let's also have a look in the rear. So let me just set up this seat. If you know, if I was going on a trip, like a skiing holiday or whatever, and I said, okay, come on, I'll take 3 friends and we'll go skiing for a long weekend or something like that, or I'll take the family, whatever. What would be doable for a longer journey? I would say this is pretty, yeah, this is doable. You also have a pretty decent range if you're a bit careful with the throttle, because it's got a 91 liter fuel tank, which is also nice. Okay, so pretty decent. Let me just, you've got pretty decent space. It's a really nice spec. Look at all that yellow with that black, super nice. The Alcantara here as well on the sides with the stitching, speakers there. But let me see if this is doable. Okay, so for a few hours, for like 2 hours, this would be okay. Then I'd have to stop for some stretching and maybe some mental health support. But this is doable for normal sized adults. This is good. If you're like 180, like 6'2" or something like that, this would be very doable for 4 adults, which is nice. I wasn't really expecting it. You've got loads of headroom actually. I'm not hitting my head. And as I said, it's a very expensive option, this panoramic roof, but it's a must-have because it completely transforms the cabin, because it's so light. Look at the size of it. It just runs all the way across the car. So yeah, this is actually pretty impressive. I was expecting the seat to crush my legs, my soles, and any expectations I would ever have of driving this car with more than 2 people, but this is really good. So, and honestly, I would be able to drive this for a longer period of time. I mean, it's more comfortable if I just put it back a little bit, but that's not bad. I like that. So, compared to the FF, you also get a new infotainment system with this touchscreen, which is usually at Ferrari, you need a bit of time to get used to it, but this is actually a pretty straightforward setup. So this is nice to have, and you've got physical buttons for the climate, which is great. Audio, great. You've got your gearbox down here, windows switches, you've got a bit of storage here with cup holders. So this is all very good. I like this cabin. I think it feels very spacious. Again, it's down to that roof, but this also feels really good. I like it. And then you've got the classic Ferrari steering wheel with the indicators and the suspension, the lights, start, stop, and the Manettino, which is nice. I like this wheel. You get used to it, and it's physical buttons, so that's great. Screen, rev counter. It's basically the same setup you get in an 812 or something like that. So yeah, awesome. What we're going to find out today is it any good? I mean, when it was new, in the Netherlands. The price difference was around 75,000 euros to go to the V12. And I think that is quite a relatively small difference if you go from 300 and something thousand to 375. I think that's not too bad of a price difference. So I think I would have gone for the V12. However, this might be the better handling car because it's 55 kilos of weight that's been shedded in the nose, but also you've got rear wheel drive, so the steering is a bit better as well. So yeah, it might actually be the better car to drive. We also have a Novatec exhaust, by the way. So nice deep V8 sound, which sounds good. This engine definitely, or yeah, this drivetrain really benefits from an exhaust because it can sound a little bit flat and unemotional, especially for a Ferrari. And I think that this little exhaust upgrade helps a lot with that. So let's have a little drive. And something that I noticed earlier today is that it's a really nice cruiser. That was bad timing on my part with the driving modes, but here we go, tunnel. So it's definitely, there's a lot more going on sound-wise with this exhaust. So just listen to this difference. They do open up at a certain point to let out the turbo pressure, but comfort mode, automatic gearbox, listen to that. That's great. It's comfortable, suspension is comfortable, I love that. But we're going to open that up, of course, go for a proper driving mode, manual. Honestly, this exhaust, it definitely livens up the car because stock, as I said, this engine, this drivetrain can feel a little bit flat. It's very good, very effective in the 488 as well, in the F8 as well. It's super nice, but because you have a flat blade crank, the sound is more like a really super aggressive 4-cylinder almost. It doesn't really sound like a V8 because of that flat blade crank. And with this exhaust, it kind of opens up more of the subtle nuances that you have in the sound. So down low, it sounds, you know, more bellowy, more brutal basically, and then up high in the higher revs, it starts to sing a little bit more, which is nice. So we also have launch control, of course. The V8 does 3.5 seconds, where the V12 does 3.4 seconds, while the V12 has 4-wheel drive. So yeah, as you can see, it just grips. Also because the weight balance is shifted to the rear, so you have more weight on that rear axle. But it's got plenty of grip, especially with these 335s at the rear. It doesn't have that stock, but that's because of the Novatec wheels. So handling wise, you have that quick steering that we're used to from Ferrari, but it's not as aggressive and as direct as in some of the other cars. I think they did set it up as more of a comfortable car in that respect, because it can feel quite nervous if you're not used to it, to get in a Ferrari and the steering is just, it's so direct. It's an incredibly quick rack that they use. So what they also changed for this car, I think because, you know, they know that people are going to use this car differently. You don't have a race mode on the Manettino, so it's just comfort, sport, and then ESC off, which is like, yeah, the most aggressive setting basically. Super quick, 7-speed dual clutch gearbox, amazing as always. I mean, yeah, this is one of those cars that can do a lot. It can quiet down and sort of change to fit your needs when you need a more comfortable and more quiet car. But then when you hit the Autobahn and you want to get going, or a nice B road, it does feel like a proper Ferrari. It doesn't have the same level of drama that you have in a V12 Ferrari, of course, but I would still say that this is a very competent car. Oh, I love those brakes. Good pedal. So 7,500 RPM red line. We've got the shift indication lights on the steering wheel there. Top speed 320 kilometers an hour for the V8. We've got the horse trailer here. I'm not going to pass that full whack with the Novatec exhaust open. 320 for the V8, 335 for the V12. Of course, has to be the Big Daddy. It picks up nicely. It's not as relentlessly fast as the V12 Ferraris, of course. I mean, it's a fast car, don't get me wrong, but the V12 always feels like it has some sort of reserve. And even though this is a V8 bi-turbo car, you would expect that the power delivery is less flat compared to the V12 naturally aspirated, but it's not actually. They've designed this powertrain brilliantly to make sure that it almost feels like a naturally aspirated V8. So 7th gear. Do we make 300? We do. And you've got carbon ceramics, so you can slow down. So it is a car that changes depending on your needs, and I love that. I think that makes a car so likable, and also means that I can imagine myself owning one more easily than with like a crazy loud and over-the-top supercar, if that makes sense. With this, I'm like, yeah, I could use this for that and for that and for that, and because of that I love it. It feels like you can use this car to adapt to your life and to your needs at almost any time, basically, because it's so versatile. It's also a lot more capable in both directions, like comfort and sporty or dynamic, compared to the FF. And I'm comparing this V8 to the V12 FF, of course, but that FF feels like miles away compared to this, especially dynamically. And when it comes to comfort and just build quality, this is so much better. Also really nice, and I don't even have it in the bumpy road mode. You have a button right there, but you don't need it. It's really good as it is. like this, right? And I really feel like that is why I love it so much, because as I said, it feels like you can just take this car and add it to your life, and you could just use this for everything, and that makes it super cool. I love that about it. So that's it for this review. Hope you enjoyed it. Massive thanks to Thijs Timmermans for letting us have a go in this GTC4 Lusso T. It is for sale over there, so have a look if you're interested. As I said, it's got a lot of Novatec goodies on it, like the exhaust and all the carbon and stuff. So yeah, if you're interested in a GTC4 Lusso T, make sure you check this one out, or check out his inventory if you need anything else, or just have a look because you like it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button. You can check out this video, this playlist, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.